Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
And now the news in details. We delve into Africa, where we take the stories. With fireworks displays, packed rallies and town-to-town caravans, Senegalese political parties in April following a landslide election victory the previous month. Faye has accused lawmakers in the opposition-led National Assembly of refusing to engage in meaningful talks on the budget and other proposals and dissolved parliament last month, paving the way for the legislative election on November 17th. Campaigning officially kicked off on Sunday. Faye's Pastif Party is competing for a majority that will secure his mandate, but former ruling parties have formed a rival coalition that unites the country's influential ex-presidents Macky Sall and Abdoulaye Wade. The race also includes two smaller opposition coalitions represented by former Prime Minister Amadou Ba and Mayor of the capital, Dakar, Barthélémy Dias. I wish all Senegalese and all political actors a peaceful and dignified electoral campaign, and I guarantee that the best will win, Faye said on national TV on Friday. Then choosing the president. The BDP faces a fragmented opposition, with its biggest challenge coming from the umbrella of Democratic Change UDC, a coalition led by lawyer Duma Boko. Two other parties have put forward candidates for president. Voting started smoothly in the capital, Gaborone, with long queues outside most polling stations. Over 1 million people are registered to vote in the country for some 2.3 million, according to the Electoral Commission. BDP supporter Penny Mogil, 35 years old, said she was voting for a continuation of entrepreneurship. Prod at a supermarket in downtown Gaborone said he would vote for change at the end of his shift. The opposition UDC has pledged to more than double the minimum wage from 1,500 Botswana pula per month to 4,000 pula if it wins. Economic issues have dominated the campaign, although Botswana is one of the wealthiest countries per capita in sub-Saharan Africa. A decline in the global diamond market saw economic growth forecast for 2024/1%. Botswana is the world's top producer by value of diamonds and has struggled to divert quality and unemployment, while Masisi says his plans to create jobs were disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic but remained on track. Election results are usually announced within a few days. At least 10 people were shot dead and fire during post-election protests in Mozambique last week. Medical associations say as the country braced for further demonstrations. Protests broke out before and after Mozambique's Electoral Commission announced that ruling party Frelimo had won an October 9 poll, extending its 49 years in power. Opposition candidates, civil society groups and observers said the election was rigged. The Electoral Commission has declined to comment on allegations of fraud, while Frelimo did not reply to requests for comment. Police responded to the protest with tear gas and gunfire. Interior Minister Pascal Ronda told reporters on Tuesday in Green Bay, Wisconsin, to call attention to a Tuesday comment by Democratic President that he said revealed the disdain Democratic leaders feel towards Trump's supporters. Taking questions as they sat in the truck, Trump said ashamed of himself and that Harris will the issue. Trump's supporters not garbage. The fight distanced himself from the comedian at his Madison Square Garden rally. Other opinion polls show tight margins in the 7 battleground states that will decide the November 5th election. Tensions are running high. Election workers in competitive states are bracing for violence, and authorities in Florida arrested a man from menacing voters with a machete. President Joe Biden will attend the inauguration of the next U.S. president. Trump and his wife Melania left the White House before Biden's inauguration, skipping the traditional greeting of the presidential residence and next occupants and the inauguration itself. Trump's Vice President Mike Pence, whom some of Trump's supporters had threatened to hang during the deadly January 6, 2021 assault on the Capitol, and his wife Karen did attend the ceremony. Former President Donald Trump has vowed to investigate or prosecute political rivals, election workers, and left-wing Americans if he becomes president again. The Republican presidential candidate also vowed to investigate those he has claimed, without evidence, may cheat in favor of Democrats. Administration rejecting his claims. Harris has said that he expected chaos on election day. He responded that the bigger problem was the enemy from within. Trump, of course, would have no power to call out the military on election day, but his have alarmed critics who say they suggest he views the armed forces as a potential weapon against opponents. If he returns, U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday announced a $3 billion investment from his inflation judge in the swing state of Pennsylvania, extended until Friday, the deadline for Bucks County voters to request a mail-in ballot after Donald Trump's campaign sued, alleging that some supporters seeking ballots were improperly turned away. In the lawsuit filed on Wednesday, the Trump campaign, along with Republican U.S. Senate candidates Dave McCormick and the Republican National Committee, say the county office sent voters home on Tuesday who formed long lines ahead of a 5 p.m. deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot. Voters in Bucks County, which narrowly voted for Democratic President Joe Biden, the 2020 election will have until Friday to apply for, receive, or return a mail-in ballot, according to an order from Judge Jeffrey Trogar. Pennsylvania is one of 7 states known as battleground states, likely to decide Tuesday's presidential election. Its 19 electoral votes are seen as crucial for either Trump or his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. This is a landmark victory that will allow our voters to cast those votes pursuant to Pennsylvania law, RNC Chair Michael Whatley told reporters, adding that he did not know if the 3-day extension would benefit Democrats or Republicans. Democrats have leaned heavily on mail-in voting in recent elections, and Trump to this day has made unfounded claims that voter fraud cost him the 2020 election and that mail-in votes are susceptible to fraud. Arizona man who was arrested for shooting at the Democratic National Committee's office in suburban Phoenix on 3 separate occasions was indicted on a terrorism charge, state officials said on Wednesday. Prosecutors charged Jeffrey Michael Kelly, 60 years old, with shooting at the DNC office in Tempe, Arizona, shortly after midnight 3 times between September 16th and October 6th. The shooting did not cause injuries but highlighted the breaks for political violence ahead of Tuesday's U.S. election. In a statement, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office said a grand jury had charged Kelly on Monday with 1 count of terrorism and multiple counts of unlawful discharging a firearm. The Attorney's Office said Kelly opened fire more than 20 times during the 3 shootings, with shots damaging the building's windows, front doors, and walls. Tempe Police Chief McCoy said last week that Kelly had also been observed posting anti-Democrat signs in the area. Kelly was arrested on October 22, McCoy said. More than 120 guns, 250,000 rounds of ammunition, and a grenade launcher were found at Kelly's home, the New York Times reported, citing comments by a prosecutor during a court hearing. The newspaper reported that authorities believed Kelly was planning to commit an act of mass casualty. Kelly's attorney could not immediately be reached for comment. 2 Mexican journalists were shot dead in less than 24 hours in western states, according to authorities, as the country faces a flare-up of violence in the region. A Mexican journalist was shot dead in the western state of Colima on Wednesday afternoon, the state prosecutor's office told newsmen. Her name was Patricia Ramirez, also known by her nickname, Patty Bunbury, and she worked as an entertainment reporter, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, a New York-based rights group. It was the second journalist shot dead in less than 24 hours in Mexico, ranked as one of the deadliest countries for journalists by press freedom groups, after the head of an online news outlet in Mexico was killed late on Tuesday. The killings marked the first of a journalist under President Claudia Sheinbaum, who took office at the beginning of this month and has pledged to combat violence and crime. Mauricio Cross was shot dead in the city of Uruapan in the violence-plagued western state of Michoacan, according to the state prosecutor's office. Another person, who the prosecutor did not identify, was wounded in the shooting, while the nation was being rocked by a wave of violence. Sheinbaum has followed the work of a predecessor and mentor, former President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, stating that her government would not wage a war on Mexico's drug cartels. Bolivian President Luis Arce on Wednesday called for the end of costly highway blockades that have paralyzed parts of the South American country and fueled an increasingly volatile conflict with his main political rival. The economic cost of the blockades over 17 days over $1.7 billion, as said in a message to the nation. As also said, 70 people, including 61 police officers, have been injured in the blockades organized by supporters of former President Evo Morales. As this conference is his latest attempt to curb the growing tensions in the country, as Morales supporters have blocked key highways and prevented the delivery of food and fuel, particularly in the center of the country. The Cochabamba Trump, and claiming the former leader's convoy had instead fired on special anti-narcotics police who were carrying out a patrol. Argentina's President Javier Milei on Wednesday replaced Foreign Affairs Minister Diana Mondino after she voted in favor of lifting the U.S. embargo against Cuba to end its decades-long sanctions regime on Cuba in a non-binding resolution opposed only by the U.S. and Israel. Milei, who has said that he wants Argentina to be in line with the U.S. and Israel, shared a post on social media from a lower house lawmaker praising his government for not supporting nor being an accomplice of dictators. Gerardo Within, who has been serving as Argentina's ambassador to the United States, will replace Mondino as the country's foreign minister's presidential spokesperson Manuel Adoni said the next. Mondini, one of Milei's first confirmed cabinet members, has played a key role in keeping diplomatic relations smooth with international partners despite incendiary comments from the president about countries like Brazil and China. Milei was having lunch when he received a call from inquiring about Argentina's vote in favor of lifting the embargo and communist-ruled Cuba, angering the right-wing leader, local news outlet reported. You're watching the international news on Atlantic Television Network. Still ahead, Russian airstrike hits Kharkiv, kills child in just 29. We'll be back after this break to stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the world. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Network.tv. And now to the rest of our stories. Strong Typhoon Kong Ray made landfall on Taiwan's east coast on Thursday, the largest storm by size to hit the island in nearly 30 years, closing financial markets, causing hundreds of flights to be cancelled and reducing rail services. The typhoon knocked out power to nearly 500,000 households, the government said. The storm hits the mountainous and sparsely populated east coast county of Taitung, according to Taiwan's Central Weather Administration, with strong winds and torrential rain affecting almost all the island. The fire department reported one person had died when the truck hit a falling tree in central Taiwan. At one point, the super typhoon Kong Ray slightly weakened overnight, spotting 250 km per hour, according to tropical storm routes. Taiwan's Weather Administration puts the typhoon's size at the biggest to hit the island since 1996. I hope that everyone in the country will cooperate with avoiding disaster and refraining from engaging in dangerous behavior such as wave watching during the typhoon. Kim Jong-un was on hand and said the test was a warning to enemies that have been threatening the country's security. State news agency reported. The muzzle flexing comes amid a storm of international condemnation and rising alarm over what the U.S. and others say is North Korea's deployment of 11,000 troops to Russia, 3,000 of them close to the Western front lines with Ukraine. The launch drew swiftly condemnation from South Korea, Japan, and the United States. A day earlier, Seoul reported signs the North may test launch an ICBM or conduct a seventh nuclear test around the U.S. presidential election on Tuesday, seeking to draw attention to its growing military prowess. Shin Seung-ki, head of research in North Korea's military at the state-run Korea Institute for Defense Analysis, said the launch was likely to test improved booster performance of an existing ICBM, possibly with the help of Russia. Pyongyang's latest test came just hours after U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and his South Korean counterpart Kim Jong-hyun met in Washington to condemn the North Korean troop deployment in Russia. Top UN official on Wednesday urged a probe into the killings in Bangladesh during protests that led to the downfall of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, while also calling for minority protection and a national process of truth and healing. The South Asian nation has seen rising tensions and protests in recent months. Large demonstrations forced Hasina to flee to India on August the 5th, and an interim government led by Nobel Peace Prize-winning economist Mohammed Yunus took charge. After any period of repression, upheaval, and as our party officials and supporters faced the wrath of demonstrators, attacks were reported against Bangladeshi minorities. Turk said his office fact-finding mission is investigating allegations of attacks against minorities between August 5th and August 15th. 6 people have died as nearly 100 Rohingya landed by boat in Indonesia's Aceh province. A local fishing community said on Thursday the latest wave of arrivals to the Southeast Asian country in recent days. Miftah Chut Adek, chief men, that the 96 arrivals were still at the local part of Asia on Sumatra Island. There is no solution yet. They are still at the beach, said Miftah. About 300 Rohingya came ashore last week in Indonesia's Aceh and North Sumatra provinces. The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, has called on Indonesia's government to ensure their safety. UNHCR was providing aid to the Rohingya together with local authorities, a spokesperson said in Indonesia. Between October and April, when the seas are calmer, many Rohingya Muslims leave Myanmar on rickety boats for Thailand, Muslim majority Indonesia, Malaysia and Bangladesh. The Rohingya leave bodies majority Myanmar, where they are regarded as foreign interlopers from South Asia and are denied citizenship and subjected to abuse. Over 2,000 Rohingya arrived in Indonesia last year. UNHCR data showed more than the combined total of arrivals in the previous 4 years. Some of them faced rejection in Indonesia as locals grew frustrated by the deluge of arrivals. While addressing the Moroccan Western Sahara issue, Macron reiterated France's support for Moroccan sovereignty over the contested territory. For France, the present and future of this territory lie within the framework of Moroccan sovereignty. The autonomy under Moroccan sovereignty is the framework within which this issue must be resolved, he said. He added that the 2007 autonomy plan constitutes the only basis for achieving a just, lasting and negotiating with the resolutions of the United Nations Security Council. Spain issued another storm warning on Thursday for part of the Valencia region, devastated by floods that have killed at least 95 people, as rescuers scoured flooded fields and stranded cars for those still missing. Local authorities have not disclosed how many people are still unaccounted for after Europe's deadliest floods in years, but Defense Minister Margarita Robles said late on Wednesday the death toll was likely to rise. Rescue workers combed the wreckage of vehicles that were caked in mud next to roads or in flooded fields, with some using heavy machinery to clear debris from the street, television footage showed. Calm weather returned on Thursday to the hardest hit areas around the city of Valencia, Spain's third largest, but the IMET said State's weather agency issued its highest level of alert for the province of Castellón. Further, north in the Catalonia region, an amber alert was issued for the city of Tarragona. Russian forces attacked two ballistic missiles to attack the eastern town of Kramatorsk, Kyiv's military said. The Air Force said it shot down 17 out of 43 drones and 2 guided missiles launched by Russia overnight. It said 23 drones were locationally lost, likely due to electronic warfare, and 3 more left Ukraine-controlled airspace. Air defenses worked in 9 Ukrainian regions and the capital of Kyiv. Kyiv City Military Administration said the air defense disabled under drones threatening the capital. Debris from the drones caused a fire in an open area, damaged a power line and windows in 2 residential buildings and an administrative building, according to the preliminary information from the Kyiv authorities. Russian guided bombs struck a high-rise apartment in the second largest city, killing a child and injuring at least 29 people, officials said. Kharkiv region Governor Ole Sinyobhubov said the child, 11 years old, had been pulled from under rubble with serious head wounds and fractures, but medics were unable to save him. He had earlier said 3 people were trapped under rubble. Writing on the Telegram messaging app, Sinyobhubov said the strike had triggered a fire and destroyed most of one entrance, making a huge hole in the building. Television footage showed rescue teams picking their way through twisted piles of concrete and other building materials to bring out the injured and rush them into ambulances. Firefighters on long hoists tackled smoke billowing from shattered apartments. Kharkiv remained in Ukrainian hands through the initial failed advance of Russian forces on the capital, Kyiv, in the early days of the February 2022 invasion. It has since become a frequent target of Russian air attacks. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the attack underscored the need for more military aid from Ukraine's Western allies. Our partners can see what is happening every day, he wrote in Telegram. And in these conditions, every decision that is put off means, at the very least, dozens of lives and hundreds of Russian bombs used against Ukraine. And that's the package we have for you in the international news for today. Before we go, another look at the major stories. We told you that President's fights for mandates in parliamentary race. 10 people shot dead in Mozambique post-election protests. We also told you that Biden set to attend presidential inauguration regardless of winner. Judge orders Marks to court over $1 million giveaway. We also told you that Trump vows to investigate rivals if re-elected. You heard that Typhoon Kongray hits Taiwan, leaving 1 dead. Russian airstrike hits Kharkiv, kills child, injures 29. That's it on the international news. Thank you so much for watching. I am Victor Peter. Remember, we are open for adverts placements, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, products, service promotion and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Business news comes up next. Do stay with us.